It's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind.
In 1969, 600 million people across the world watched as NASA put a man on the moon. But what if the Apollo mission had failed? Flashback 7 years to 1962. The space race was at its peak, and it looked like Russia was in the lead. They'd launched the first satellite, they'd already sent animals into space and back, and they were the first to put a man in orbit. NASA always seemed to be one step behind the cosmonauts. But then, one sunny day in Texas, President John F. Kennedy delivered a speech that would change everything.
We choose to go to the moon in this decade and do the other things, not because they are easy, but because they are hard. Because that goal will serve to organize and measure the best of our energies and skills. Because that challenge is one that we're willing to accept, one we are unwilling to postpone, and one we intend to win, and the others too.
Nothing of this scale had ever been attempted. At the time, NASA only had 4 manned missions under its belt, the longest lasting less than 5 hours. A moon mission was expected to take around 8 days and would require a rocket with more than 250 times as much fuel. If that wasn't hard enough, the mission needed something totally new, a lander. This vehicle had to be able to detach itself from the main spacecraft, navigate to a suitable landing area, land safely, relaunch, and then rendezvous back with a command module to begin the almost 250,000-mile return trip to Earth. The margins for error were terrifying. A human or technical error would almost certainly result in the deaths of at least 2, if not all 3, crew members. To add to the challenge, the lander couldn't be tested in the environment it was built for. The moon has no wind or air resistance, and gravity is only 1/6 of its strength on Earth. 3 of the 5 training vehicles were destroyed in crashes prior to launch. NASA was well aware of the risks of the mission and felt the return of a lunar lander would be the trickiest stage. If it went wrong, Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin would be stranded on the moon as the whole world watched. In this event, a protocol had been established. First, communication would be deliberately closed down, leaving the astronauts a moment to decide if they wanted to take their own lives or wait for their air supply to run out. Next, President Nixon would call each of the astronauts soon-to-be widows and offer his deepest condolences. Finally, a speech would be delivered to the American public and the world at large. Fate has ordained that the men who went to the moon to explore in peace will stay on the moon to rest in peace. These brave men, Neil Armstrong and Edwin Aldrin, know that there is no hope for their recovery. But they also know that there is hope for mankind in their sacrifice. These 2 men are laying down their lives in pursuit of mankind's most noble goal, the search for truth and understanding. They will be mourned by their families and friends. They will be mourned by their nation. They will be mourned by the people of the world. They will be mourned by a Mother Earth that dared send 2 of her sons into the unknown. In their exploration, they stirred the people of the world to feel as one. In their sacrifice, they bind more tightly the brotherhood of man. In ancient days, men looked at stars and saw their heroes in the constellations. In modern times, we do much the same, but our heroes are epic men of flesh and blood. Others will follow and surely find their way home. Man's search will not be denied. But these men were the first, and they will remain the foremost in our hearts. For every human being who looks up at the moon in the nights to come will know that there is some corner of another world that is forever mankind.